sure you know what you're doing?
Yeah. Come on.
Yeah, it's cool. I have a couple diehard Boise fans that, like, when I posted a picture of you two, it was like, you know, like all the DMs around there, and I feel like there's a pretty loyal fan base that comes from Boise State.
If you're a fan of Boise, you're loyal.
Yeah. And I see that. I see, like, every time Alex travels to a game or anything like that, the love for him and around.
Oh, no. Stop.
No.
There's levels to that. You know?
All right.
Alex is on a whole other level of love in Boise. They probably wouldn't. A lot of people, like, I guess if you're a Boise State football fan, you'll know me if I'm walking through Boise, but everybody knows Alex in Boise.
Yeah.
Like, everybody. But you know Alex, and you know Alex in Arizona as well. So
for sure,
and
that's
Alex
just
and
how it
Alice
is.
and Alex in Windsor, Habib's, he's got all the boys.
So we'll go back, and I want to dive into a little bit, obviously, around your career because, you know, welcome to A Million Ways to Make $1 Million. And we have Tyrone Crawford here that did it via football, you know, playing a sport. And as much as people would like to think it's a game, I'm sure that there's a lot of work that came into that. And when I found out that you were from Canada, I just got curious around what that's like. Like, is that like an American trying to play soccer that's typically like a European or an other part of the world sport, but obviously they have training facilities and it's played in every high school and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's
when I heard Canada, it's like, man,
that's pretty spot on.
Yeah.
Like if you're thinking soccer and you're trying to go and play like for a big club in Europe or something like that, well, maybe not. That's kind of over the pond. But I mean, I guess it's like hockey players here. You know, if they want to. I mean, they got some of the biggest teams here in the United States, but I'm saying, like, if they're going to compete, you're going to go and compete against, you know, the Canadian hockey players.
Yeah, so you weren't having to, like, travel to go to football practice to other towns over or anything like that. Like, football, you could start getting in pads young?
Yeah, you can. I got in pads young. I think it was, like, grade 7, and then that was kind of like it. No, I think it was grade 6, and then I was like, nah, that's it. Like, I'm not playing football. And then in high school, I thought I had hoop dreams like anybody else. And I thought I was going to be a hooper, but then went out for the football team, loved it, and kind of just played 3 sports throughout high school. And,
Yeah. Well, I like asking questions or pushing on people a little bit, but I love a story because in the world of generating wealth, I guess you could say, it's hard-pressed to find somebody that it was just smooth sailing.
Yeah.
You said that there was a period of time that you played football, and then you said, no, I don't think I want to do this anymore. How old are you?
I was in, like, grade 6, so.
Okay. What, they put you in the bull ring or something? You got hit a couple, like, what happened? Like,
no, I mean, I was with some dogs. Like, if you're from the city, like, they're true legends. Like, these guys are true legends, you know, in the city. And, like, our team was stacked. And I was just like, I was pretty much used as a dummy in practice, and then in the game, I played tight end and like never got a pass. Was bad at blocking. I was just bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, in high school, started off playing like outside linebacker, then went to running back and played quarterback, wide receiver. So it got fun to me at that point, and I was like, all right, yeah, let's rock.
Well, tell me how big you were when you were used as a punching bag essentially in practice.
I mean, I was a tall, skinny kid.
Okay.
Yeah, so like they're like in our basketball camps, like the guys that I played with, they're because I was playing with guys my age and then 2 years older than me as well. So yeah, the guys that when we went to basketball camps, they would be our coaches, because they were in the higher grades, and so they would be coaching the younger kids, and they would call me clumsy all the time. You know what I'm saying? So like I was a big, tall, skinny, clumsy kid. You know? And then it was quick. I wanted to quit right away, but if you know my mom, Mama, she don't play that.
Yeah, she wasn't having
that. No, you're going the whole thing.
Well, yeah, so tell me what that is. Like, you don't even bring it up to her, hey, Mom, I don't want to do this anymore?
Well, I mean, I did like the first couple times.
Okay.
Like, but that was before no, I didn't bring it up during football because I had already tried that with maybe baseball and say something else. And I already got the in the car rundown, like, you ain't doing it. Like, say another word and you're getting this, you know? So I was like, all right, cool. If I started, I finish it.
Yeah, like,
yeah.
Where do you think that mentality came for her, and why was it so important to pass to you?
I don't know. You know, like, obviously you got to give, you know, testament to, you know, our parents, and I know my granny, but I never got to meet her dad, but my granny was, you know, a beast. She had, I think my mom has 7 siblings or 6 siblings. I got to count it. But yeah, so, I mean, you know, she was a great lady, you know, hard worker as well. So that probably just passed down to my mom, and, you know, she just extremely hard worker, never missed a day of work. I mean, missed days, but like very rare out of the years she worked there. So, I mean, yeah, me and my brother, I know we were talking about my brother earlier, but me and him, like, he doesn't look up at me. Like, we both look at our mom, you know, as our like, who we look up to, for sure.
Yeah, your brother's created a little bit of a life for himself too. I mean, we'll talk about that a little bit more, but it's a big testament to your mom and having that mentality. I mean, man, I think that if I could teach my kids something right now, is that, hey, watch what can happen when you see things through.
Absolutely.
Like, you start something with the mentality of like, hey, we're not looking for the exit. We're not dabbling. Like, make a decision, commit to it, be someone that can be counted on, and then make your decision when the time right, if you're going to pivot or whatever it may be. But man, just to see like the smile on your face, you're like, yeah, like, I wanted to quit, but I knew that wasn't going to fly in my house.
No, not at all. But I love that, because I mean, like, what you were saying about teaching, like, just the one thing or a couple things that we want to teach our kids, and one of them is discipline, you know? I mean, and that forces you to stay disciplined in whatever you're doing, because you're not going to just be there for no reason. That's another thing. Like, she wasn't going to let us do it and then not try and do it the best we could either. You know, if she caught us, you know, slacking off on the field, or if I was in the outfield picking flowers, it was a bad day.
Yeah.
It was a bad day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you say you were the tall, lanky kid.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think tall, lanky when I hear running back. When did that transition where they thought, hey man, let's give this kid the ball and go? Like, when did this, obviously you had to fill out at some point.
This might be something in the podcast where you just pop in a YouTube clip. Because, I was a tall, like, well, actually, like, the YouTube clips that you'll see, I was a running back, but I was kind of like I filled out a little bit when I was playing running back in those videos, but, like, that's how I was when I was tall and skinny, you know?
Okay.
So, are you talking about when I was a dummy for everybody?
No, well, I'm just saying, like, hey, I was kind of like the tall, lanky kid.
Yeah.
But now you get into high school, and it's like, man, you're playing on both sides of the ball. You're probably playing special teams and all that kind of stuff too, right? You're just keeping on there.
Yep.
But you got big enough, I'm guessing, that they're saying, hey, this guy's going to be hard to tackle. Let's just hand him the ball. I'm thinking in Arizona.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't play running back like in an Arizona high school.
Yeah.
You know, like, obviously, but, like, I mean, we had 22 guys on my senior roster.
Okay.
Yeah, we didn't really have a choice. Yeah.
So you're playing.
Yeah, both ways, everything not coming out. It was just, we were rocking.
You're an athlete.
But a lot of there's athletes that do that here.
Yeah.
You know, like, they go both ways and just kind of have to play the whole game. But
Terrell Suggs is from here.
Oh yeah.
And when he started, like, he played running back in high school, and it was just like, wait, what? Like, who's tackling him? Like, if I'm a corner at 5'9", 140 in high school or something like that, like, what am I doing with that? And I was wondering if you started filling out enough to how big you are today.
Yeah, I don't know. I did not know he played running back, but that's insane. But, like, you know, like, Marshawn Lynch is the person that, like, is kind of like an oversized running back, and, like, that's the guy I got hit the hardest, you know, by in the league, and I couldn't imagine, like, high school kids having to tackle Marshawn Lynch.
Well, take me through a little bit now. I think today a lot of kids are playing one sport.
Yeah.
Like, and it's, you know, I'm hearing parents now. I've got kids that are under 10 years old, and I'm hearing other parents like, nope, we're locking in now. Like, they're playing this. You played, you know, and I saw a couple of your stats. Like, you weren't a slouch on the basketball court, and maybe even more so in track and field, right?
Yeah.
From that standpoint, like, you had some things going for you. What benefited you? Like, you made it to the top. And you played 3 sports. You didn't quit everything else. You did everything. Like, tell me a little bit about the benefit of playing 3 sports.
Yeah, I mean, I've talked about this a lot, especially lately, because I'm kind of in that conversation. I'm in these circles now because of, you know, what I'm doing with what we talked about before, the work brand and stuff. It's, you know, like I always think 3-sport athletes are, it's great to be one, because you're not only working on just like that, you're becoming an athlete, and to become like some of the best, you know, players in college are the athletic ones. Like, you know, like you'll see them in the gym and they're dunking, you know, and then maybe there's another sport they play, you know, but they're always in multiple things. You know, they're not just the one guy that just power lifts and plays football, you know, like those guys become fullbacks, you know.
Yeah.
So like, I just think that it helps athletes with, you know, just different movements, you know, different positions that you might have to be in, you know. When you go, like, obviously in high school, like when you go we went from football to basketball, like you notice the conditioning is completely different, right? So it's always good to have that different type of conditioning through different parts of the year, I think.
Yeah.
But you know, it's up to, I guess it's up to you ultimately. But yeah, and it also creates like a different challenge. Like I did shot put, you know, it was me and me alone versus, you know, another person alone. So instead of being a team sport, and then you play a 5-man sport like basketball where you got a tight knit group, and, you know, you guys, it's a different type of team. It's a different type of, I guess, chemistry, you know. So
yeah,
I think all that's dope. I'm a big pusher of, you know, play as many sports as you can, but I also understand like parents, if they want their kid to play one sport and it's like that serious for them right now, then go ahead. But I don't think it should be that serious in high school.
Yeah. Yeah. You said that you had hoop dreams.
Mm-hmm.
When was the moment, like
Those
the
guys?
aha moment where you're like, hey man, I might love this over here, but like this might benefit me in a certain way. I might be able to get a scholarship here. Or was there a moment in high school where you thought, man, I might be good enough to make money doing this? Or when was like the click moment where you're like, hey, I'm going to head down the football route?
Man, I would say like a couple things, but like fouling out in basketball and just like, you know, getting fouled all the time. And it was just kind of like I guess where I was at in my city, it was kind of like unfair. Like, you know, people would be hanging off me and I wouldn't get the fouls and stuff like that. Or, you know, I would get so many fouls. Like, it just wasn't like, it was too soft of a sport for me. So I knew, you know, pretty early in high school, maybe, you know, grade 10, that I was like, okay, I just like football more. You know, I like to be able to stop someone that's trying to get somewhere.
Yeah.
And hit them hard. And I loved offense. I love the energy of it, you know, scoring a touchdown. I love running people over. I didn't, you know, do that any further than high school, but like those things were great. Like it was, the energy was just different for me. Basketball was dope too. You know, like our high school did really well in basketball. So we had a great time, great team, brothers from my basketball teams, but football is,
you want to go hit
war,
some people.
You know what I mean? Like you're going into like that's for me, that's the only, like, I love football. But like that's what I love about football is like it's just a battle with your guys, you know.
Yeah.
Like and sometimes it's like for D linemen, you know, it's like, okay, now it's 2 against 1. Like I gotta strap up for this one. It's like I know I'm getting this double team. I see him coming down. Like, all right, let's go.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. I just love that.
Take me through your mindset. Let's call it like junior heading into your senior year. Hey, I'm going to go do this. Like, I'm going to be a football player. I'm going to go try and get a scholarship, or had offers already started coming in. Like, tell me a little bit about where you were at, like mindset wise around this path you were heading down. Were you oblivious to it? Did you know you were good? Like,
I mean, you know, like making like all city and all, like, you know, and people telling you you're good, you kind of know, you know, you're good enough to go to the next level. And obviously, you know, whatever step that is, mine was junior college, but you're good enough to go to the next level. And my coach always said, like, hey, like if this thing, if what you're doing, like, could pay for your education, like that's the main thing. Like, go get your education paid for. So, I mean, I always just kept that in mind. You know, as I was playing, I was like, man, if I can get my education paid for, that's the first step. I didn't really think about like the CFL or the NFL that much. But yeah, I mean, the whole time, like growing up, like that's what I, you know, I grabbed onto. I fiended. Like that was the goal, you know, was set to be go and get, you know, be the best, because to be if you're the best, you're gonna get, you know, your education paid for, and then, you know, we'll take the next step later, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I ask every guest on here what their viewpoint is on formal education. And I hear you saying, like, your main goal was to go and get school paid for, meaning you had a belief system.
Well, no. My coach always said that to me. Over time, that is less important to me. That was the only way through, though, right? Like, in football, you have to go to school. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So you have to
be a doctor, you're going to be a lawyer, you're going to be a football player. Yeah. Like, school, there's a certain amount of school that's required.
Yeah. But if my daughter told me she didn't want to go to university, I would say, okay, what do you do? Like, what are you doing to, like, you're going to be an entrepreneur, or however you're rolling with this, what are we doing? Like, what's the plan? Like, what's the next step? Boom, 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 let's get it going. You know, like, you ain't sitting around after, like, I get it. You don't want to go to college. That's great. I don't, like, necessarily believe that people need to now. You know? Yeah.
Did you graduate?
I did graduate, with my communications degree, like Alex.
All right, like Alex. Yeah. And so you went to, I was curious to hear that, you know, like, as somebody that it was a requirement for you to go to at least a certain amount of school. Yeah. You did 4 years. You got a college education. But what I heard in that is that you're not overly passionate about pushing your kids to go down that route. Yeah. Can I ask why?
Honestly, I just think that there's a couple of things. If you want to be a doctor, obviously, we got to get the school route. You know, if you want to be a lawyer, I think it's the best way to go the school route. I mean, I think that's the only way. You have to pass the bar, right? But, like, anything else after that, I can't really think of anything else. You know, obviously science, the universities can teach, but I think, like, if you are driven towards, like, something, or, I think, because in this afterworld of, after being retired, and I know we're going to talk about this a little bit, but, I've kind of been in, self-search of, like, which direction I want to go, right? And I love a lot of things, but, like, I need to pick, one thing and go with that. I think if, like, my daughter's passionate about one thing and she wants to, go at that thing as hard as it is, she can make that her career. You know what I mean? Like, just over self-education with what we got now and, coming up. I'm not going to, as we're coming up, she already has her first company brewing. You know what I mean? So, like, she's learning that type of stuff.
How old?
She's 5.
Yeah.
And her sister's, like, not as interested, but she's starting to get more interested. I'm starting to find ways to get her more interested in growing this thing. And then, they want to sell it. So it's going to be cool, right? That's how I love the world of entrepreneurship and just kind of, just being a person that can go out and get it, like, without, you don't need a degree. I didn't use my degree. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that's what I'm hearing.
Well, communications, right? Like, I mean, we're here talking. Maybe it helped me, but I could have taken an online class to help me with, I could have taken a couple online classes. I didn't pay for my education, but, like, if I was to pay for my education, like, I mean, I could have spent $3,000 over the $100,000 that it took to go to a big university and got as
taking a couple night classes on communication.
Right? Yeah, but like you learn what you need to learn. Yeah. With $3,000 over $100,000.
Any of that help you, that communications degree, like in the interview process or anything that you can lean on, or is it kind of just like, man, it was a box I needed to check. I checked it so I could go do what I knew I was going to do.
Yeah, because, like, I mean, I started off in criminology, right? And so I was like, oh, yeah, I'm going to do this. It got to a point where, like, my credits from JUCO weren't going to, like, I was going to need to say, like, an extra semester. So I was like, you know what? No, I'm just going to go and check a box, switch me to communications. I'll graduate when I need to graduate. Like I think I did some classes, like, my first year in the league, and then, like, online classes, then I was done.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, it was a box.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not, like, I'm not embarrassed to say it. Like, I was just a lot of people are like, yeah, I got, communications degree. Like, I just got it.
I got about halfway through an associate's degree before I realized school wasn't for me as well. So I'm sitting here with you, but awesome. I just get really curious around. There's so many different paths to people creating certain amount of wealth, and I'm genuinely curious around their standpoint. I don't have anything about either side of it. I can have a conversation. You can ask me what I think about formal education, and I'll tell you. Mm-hmm. But I think it differs so much between where you're trying to go. and what could be useful. But so
Well,
you don't have to hold back.
I
me
do want to
around
know
here.
yours. You can't just say you got it. I need to know your opinion.
Yeah, well, when it comes to formal education, I'm pro momentum. And so if you're sitting at 18 or 19 years old and you aren't sure what you're going to do, I would encourage you to go around school. And I know that school might have this party atmosphere or whatever it may be, but generally it's people that are doing homework, like they're working for a goal. Like they're here, they know they need to get a certain amount of credits to advance and whatever, like they're going somewhere. And the second that doesn't align for you anymore, or you find something that aligns for you more, like a career path, or you decide you're going to be an entrepreneur, move on it. Like I see a lot of people that are, man, I've already committed 2 years. I might as well finish it out. And I almost look at like, I don't think that that's overly necessary. And I guess you can catch me on either side of the week, but I'm pro momentum. And if you know that you're going to go start a business, or you know that you have a connection to a certain company and that you can get in with them without a degree or whatever it may be, like go. Yeah. But like that's where I put it in a category of, I would hate to see somebody, sit stagnant from the years 18 to 22 when you can create so much momentum. And if that means you got to go live in a dorm or go through the application process, there's a little bit of hunger that goes from there.
Absolutely.
For me, there was a little bit of fire brewing that, although I wasn't a poor student, I wasn't a good student. Like in my house, we had to have a B average to keep our car.
Oh, wow.
Like that was like, I kept my car. That's what kind of student I was.
Yeah.
But I wasn't getting any scholarship offers, and that pissed me off a little bit. Of like, who are you to tell me I couldn't come to your university if I wanted to?
Well, does it piss you off? Like, because you were saying that, and like I don't understand the corporate world really. Like, I don't know that world, but like you don't have a degree, but you could walk into a corporate job and they like if I, like knowing you already, knowing what I know now, like I would try to hire you. Like I'd be like, okay, we're hiring this guy. Like I don't know how we get it around not having a degree somewhere, but like some companies, like you have to have a degree. I mean, if I'm in corporate and I own a business, like I need this guy. You know what I mean? So like, but do you need a degree for most like corporate jobs?
Well, I think that if you go back to when you and I, like we're similar ages, I'm a few years older than you, but if you go back to when our generation was entering the workforce, I think it was pretty common to see some sort of requirement around a degree to get an interview. Well, like if you're wondering where education, like formal education served a purpose, it was, my mind started thinking, I'll either go get an interview anyways, because if I can just get an interview, like I'll take care of the rest. Or fine, like let me go create my own business to where I don't need to interview for anything, and it's me versus me, and like let's go create something. And so
I love that.
It served like a certain fire. Like I don't know, it was like a little bit of a motivation to around school. But I'm the same way. I took a couple public speaking classes that I really enjoyed. I kind of like the history side of things, but other than that, like I think if I could go back, just because of the world that I'm in right now and around numbers and looking at rate of returns and all that kind of stuff, that I might have taken some sort of accounting classes that could have served me today, but all stuff that we're doing just fine with either way.
Good.
Yeah. So you're now in high school. It's my understanding that, a struggle with Canadians coming over here is educational credits transferring.
Yeah.
You went the JUCO route. No, JUCO.
Yep.
Correct? But it was my understanding that like Boise, and if I saw this right, like Michigan State was interested prior to.
Yeah.
Was that a scenario where you thought, no, I'm going to go the JUCO route and build up to that? Or was it like, hey, we're interested, but sorry, you're not eligible. You need to go the JUCO route.
Yeah, it was that. So I went to the Michigan State camp, and, a couple weeks later, they called my coach and they said, hey, we love him, but he's not going to clear the clearinghouse grades-wise. So, there's a coach down in Bakersfield, California we love named Coach Chudy. We'd love for him to go there, and maybe we can get him, after his 2 years. And then that's that. And then Boise comes, I don't even know how many long months later, but and I I was playing basketball, and he came into the gym, and they offered me and another guy from my high school on the spot, but then found out I can't clear the clearinghouse, and said the same coach tells me and my coach, like, hey, I got a guy, though. He's in, Bakersfield, California. Great JUCO, great program. His name's Coach Schutte. And so I was like, oh.
That's where I'm going.
It's two different coaches from different schools telling me that.
Your grade's not qualifying. Well, I'll just use the Michigan State example.
Yeah.
Because you weren't getting after it in the classroom, or because of Canadian credits transferring over?
No, it's definitely because I didn't get after it in the classroom. But also, like, I mean, I grew up in, it's called LSD, it's learning disabilities.
Okay.
Like, when I was growing up, like, reading and comprehending was super hard. I just struggled in the classroom a lot in the big setting. So I would get brought out at certain times, and do these different classes. And then up through high school, there's certain levels. There's essential, applied, and then academic. So applied is like, trades. Essential is like, like you're going to do like trades, or you're going to try to find a way to get to college after and go into work. And then academic is like university students. And I was in essentials. So from then on, like, I took 1 year in essentials and then tried to, like, like some of my coaches were like, hey, we need to try and get you into these academic courses to, but it was too late by then. And those academic courses, I was not, I was struggling.
Yeah.
To say that. Yeah. So,
take me through the mindset of, this school wants me. Mm-hmm. It's a storied program, in college football. They want me to come there, but I don't qualify. Yeah. Like, what's the mindset around that? Like, are you angry? Are you annoyed that you've got to go? Or are you just so locked in that it's like, I'll do whatever it takes? Like, tell me a little bit of what that's like when it's like you've got this offer, and you just actually can't go participate in it.
I mean, there was like a little frustration, but also I kind of like was just okay with the route. I was okay with the harder route. And I knew, like, wherever I go, like, whatever the next step was, I was going to be locked into completing it. You know what I mean? So, like, in junior college, the next step is getting to university. So I played my butt off, and, I worked at school like crazy. I tried to keep my grades high. And, like, going from essential classes in high school, I made the academic list at Boise. You know what I mean? So it was like, it's a crazy flip, but, like, that's, a testament to, like, myself, like, for the hunger that there was just to, you have to get that step done. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I mean, it was free education. Might as well get my degree, right? Yeah. Yeah. There's still a lot of guys that don't have the degree, but it's, maybe probably just a couple classes, that bang it out. Yeah.
I think that it's so easy to let something like that deter what could have been so many great athletes of, like, no, man, if I can't go there, then screw this, man. I'm just not going to go ahead with it. And
JUCO is like a big eye opener to that too. I mean, like, JUCO, you got some of the, like, I've seen some of the best athletes I've ever seen in my life in junior college, but just, don't want to get that part done. Yeah. Don't want to get the other part done. The part that's necessary to go, like you're not going if that's not done.
Yeah. I mean, there's someone that I grew up with that was as talented as anyone I ever played against, a few years younger than me. He was in a camp, and he was, named with the Brandon Jennings and the James Hardens and the Kevin Loves and Russell Wood. Like, he was named with all these people, and, just because he made the decision not to go to the classroom. Yeah. He just, crazy. Played a few, I don't even know if he played a full season of community college basketball. Yeah. It's like, man, that's just someone I know, like, let alone how many people are out there that just chose not to go take care of it in the classroom enough to go and change, your family's whole trajectory.
It's crazy.
So you have success, like, I saw the accolades that come from the junior college standpoint. You already know you've got to go get 2 years. Why Boise State?
Oh, man, a couple reasons. Boise, about 5 coaches at Boise would write like little letters after my games, and say things about how my game was and like what they liked about what I did in the game. And I got those every game for like that I was at in junior college. And like, like my second year in junior college, I lived with my family. I call them my host family, but I don't really like to use host, but they're my family in Bakersfield. And, on my room, we had these like shutters, and like I literally had like the Boise things all in the shutter. So it was like blue and orange, like just cards from every game that all these coaches wrote me. So I thought that was dope. I thought it was, super loyal of them, right? And so after my first year, like I committed to Boise, and my best friend was going there at the time too. Like one of my best friends from high school, he was going there at the time too. So it was kind of easy. I took like 3 trips, but I already knew in my head, I was like, yeah, Boise's it. Like I didn't even need to take any trips. Like I was going to Boise.
Yeah.
And then like going into my second year at JUCO, I got like a bunch of offers out of junior college. I got like, I think it was a bunch of the top schools. I just stuck with Boise and rocked with it.
Yeah. Is that guy?
Kick him, man. Snoring over there.
That's AG for us over there.
Yeah.
He left us. Tell me, I want some applicables, because it's easy to go right into draft day and all those kind of things. You're a huge dude. Like you just are, and from going, I still can't really comprehend this. I was kind of a scrawny kid. Like I was kind of skinny, looking at you. What was the work ethic like to start to create a professional athlete build?
I'm telling you, like, this is exactly what I'm trying to get, I guess this is what I'm trying to do. Like the work brand, like this is what it entails, is the extra work that you have to put in. Like,
we'll pause real quick right now and talk about the work brand, because this is the second time we mentioned. I want some people to have some context behind this project that you're working on.
Okay.
And then let's plug it in and go back to the question.
Yeah. So actually, interesting enough, like me and Alex kind of came up with every time I wrote work anywhere, it would be with an extra K. And it was kind of to remind me to just work extra hard, because in high school, like I was an essential student, I was a learning disability student, and to be able to compete with, the academics and that are, like some of the tests that you have to take, and I had to work extra hard to be like, like if a kid can get math super easy, I had to work give a couple extra hours to math to be, kind of even close to that kid's level, right? And so, and that's kind of what I did. I always put an extra K on work, because I worked extra hard to, I knew that you need to go the extra mile to, get ahead, right? And so that's what I did in sports, and that's what I did in the classroom. And so I just, that's, we kind of came up with that, and we just kind of put it on T-shirts as my rookie year, just to remind me, like, this is what it's going to take. It's going to take work. It's going to take the extra work to make the team, to earn the star. And so we kind of just, I've just kind of kept that and just kept that thing with me. And, I coach some kids, and I always talk to kids and, about, I love the social media things, and I love like all the ways to make money, but, and this is great for the show, but one of the ways to make money is athletics and working hard to be an athlete. It's obviously slim chances, but that doesn't mean it's not attainable, right, for anybody. So, I kind of like, there's no way to me in my head that you make it in sport without working extra hard, right? You gotta fall asleep thinking there's someone outworking you, right?
Yeah.
And so that's what I just kind of want to carry over into, just classes with young athletes, or even just social things with young athletes. I want to, and I also have, I want it to be a foundation thing where we didn't really have like the gym membership when I was coming up. My mom was like, no, like figure it out. So a lot of the stuff that I got, that's coming out and that's going to drop is all for like kids that want to get like that, have that determination in football or in any sport to want to work hard and work out extra hard. Like if there are teams doing a workout, like you do an extra workout at night, right? And that's kind of like the premise behind it. But I got a bunch of content coming out to help them do that at home. Like they don't have to be at a gym. but, I also want there to be ways that I can just provide gym memberships to, young athletes that can't get gym memberships because, in my mind, I was always at an unfair advantage because I couldn't hit the weights like everyone else was hitting them, but I still got it in, right? I was doing I have an explosion program that I put together, but I put it together in high school and just kind of perfected it throughout the league.
Yeah.
And, I just did it at home. And in the off season, 3 months, I committed myself to 3 months, stayed disciplined and hit it. And I always got more explosive. That's when I started dunking, I shaved time off my 40 through it, you know what I mean? So just trying to provide, that kind of no excuse mindset to young athletes.
Yeah.
And it's just a plethora of stuff. It's a bunch of things that I hope can help young athletes grow in sport because, that's another way that you can go and make millions of dollars, right? Yeah.
You're 19, 20 years old. Are you the most talented person in the room at this point?
19, 20 years old.
You're heading into Boise State. Yes. Is it clear that, hey, Ty's on campus, this is the guy? Are you the most talented person in that room?
No.
Or even at JUCO, like you said, you saw freak athletes, all that kind of stuff. If you're saying no to that, if you could give, not even close.
Yeah. I can name, at Boise alone, I can name 10 more talented, more athletic and talented.
And all 10 of them were drafted before you and had longer careers than you? And
No.
So what was, if you could give, I'm sure that we could talk a long time about this, but if you could put one separator, okay, you've got 10 guys even on your own team right now that are more talented or naturally gifted than you. What's one separator where you covered that gap or leapfrogged? People that you were playing against, people on your team, that got you to where you ended up. Yeah.
I can't say that there's a separator because, I don't know what that, I don't want to talk down on any of my teammates saying that there was I'm better than them because.
Well, let's not make it a teammate thing, but you're playing against guys. My question was, were you the most talented person walking into every room at that point in your life?
Yeah, no.
And you're not even close.
Not even close, yeah. No.
So teammates aside, anything, I'm talking competition, JUCO, Boise, your division, your conference, all that kind of stuff.
I think it's that fear, of not wanting to be outworked type of thing. There's levels. There's the LeBrons that will discipline themselves into, constant work, kind of sacrificing, time from their families and stuff like that, and you become just great, right? I'm not the type that want to sacrifice, time with my family, but there's, for me, I guess, I literally would fall asleep in pursuit, when I was in pursuit of this, when I was in pursuit of being a football player and being the best I can be at it, I would fall asleep, I'm not even joking, literally thinking there's someone out there that's working out right now and getting better, bigger, stronger, faster. That's my goal, right? And so, I always had that fear. I can say that's one thing that I don't know. Maybe I just feel like I got that. Maybe it's really strong. It was strong in football. I'm trying to find that exact thing. You know what I mean? That I don't know what's going to come close to that, but it was strong in that pursuit. So I could say maybe that being one thing, but. I don't know, man. It's just, I guess the drive. Yeah. Trying to stay as disciplined as I can.
One of my favorite sports stories around work ethic was from Larry Bird. And he just said, he would go through his routine and get his shots in. And he went through a really hard workout, and he got all of his shots in, went and showered, going to bed. And the second he laid down, he thought, man, what time is it in L.A.? Because he's thinking about Magic Johnson.
Yeah.
And he's like, man, they're 3 hours behind us right now.
Mm-hmm.
Magic might just be starting his workout. He gets out of bed, laces him up again, and goes and gets that work in, just to keep up, and it's man, it almost just takes that, he's not looking at it hour for hour and hoping. It's man, it's the extra K in work.
Yeah.
It's just that extra step that's a greatness separator.
It's necessary.
Yeah.
If you're not trying to outwork, you ain't gonna. That's for me. It's necessary. I don't know. Maybe not for everybody. There are some talents out there that don't need to work that hard to, that just a lot of luck comes into it too. You know what I mean? Like just kind of how things played out, faith, you know what I mean? And just kind of letting it play out and just trusting in him to, guide me and just go. And yeah, I mean, honestly, that's about it.
The work ethic's taking you from Canada, it takes you over to California through a little bit of a challenging route.
Mm-hmm.
You make your way to Boise State. Who's the first person that tells you you've got a shot at getting drafted?
Oh man, I don't even remember.
Is there someone like in your camp? Is it a team inviting you to a workout where you were like, man, or is it you? Are you alone on the island saying like, I don't know if anyone thinks I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do it? Like, where is that at?
I honestly, like, I tell people this all the time. Like, I didn't even think like the NFL was like possible until senior year. So like, I was a backup my first, year at Boise, and I was like, I'm a backup.
At what position?
Like, defensive end.
Okay.
Yeah, and Ryan Winterswijk was the starter, and he's a beast. You know what I mean? So I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna get in front of this guy. I started some games, I think, because obviously that's how it goes. Sometimes we're injured, we got injuries or something like that. But yeah,
when it came chance, like, hey, I got a real shot of getting picked up from an NFL team, and not just like actually getting my name called.
Yeah,
in the draft. Senior year.
I mean, and honestly, could have been Alex, the first person that told me like, hey, like, are you taking this serious? Like, they think you can make it to the league, like, because like your coaches aren't going to come and tell you, but like he had the in with the coaches, he was behind the scenes and stuff, and I remember him. I can vividly remember him telling me like, hey, like you got to go into this year knowing like you're trying to get drafted to the NFL, not the CFL, because I was always talking about the CFL, and they're like, stop talking about the CFL.
Right.
Yeah.
So Alex, you're referencing Alex, and we're talking about Alex Guerrero.
Yeah.
And we're not talking about Tom Brady's Alex Guerrero.
No,
we're
not
talking
Tom Brady's.
about the other Alex Guerrero. Who was he to you at that point?
Honestly, man, he was just, so Alex came in, and he, like I said, he runs Boise, so he knew everybody. But he was the big bro, you know what I mean? Like he played at Boise. There was other guys that played, like Boise's small, tight-knit, There was other guys that were older that played at Boise that were there as well. But Alex came, and, he break down games with you after, and, also would throw a barbecue. And half my clothes that I wore, were from Alex. Hopefully didn't break any NCAA rules at that time. But, I mean, like, he just showed love. And, he at the time, I think he worked at, like, Nike or something like that. So he was just, a cool dude that would show love at, like, the big bro, like they should, you know what I mean, at Boise. So he was just a mentor at that point, kind of telling me about, because he was also a beast on the D-line, at Boise. He's a legend, number 99. But he had a double hand swipe that that's kind of when I incorporated it with, when Alex, we were watching film, he's like, get the stutter because they're afraid of your bull. Like, let's get the double hand swipe in there. So I started double hand swiping people, and it became something I always did to get past the guard or the tackle. Yeah. Yeah. So
I'm a big believer of having people in your camp that actually believe in you.
Yeah.
I think it's rare. I have a certain belief around, no one's going to believe in you until you do it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're going to do it. And it's like, man, I always knew you were special, and, that portion of it. And so I love when people can form some form of a mentor role, or even just have the conversation like, hey, I don't know if your eyes are open right now, but you've got a real shot at, like,
absolutely, yeah,
that's going on to the next level.
Yeah, I mean, it's important because, like, I mean, at some point, your mind could have, teetered, like, oh, if I hear, like, I'm in a good place in the CFL draft, and I just kind of, like, laid off the gas, because I'm not saying I would at that point, but I'm saying there could have been, a chance, something like that happens without a person like, Alex Guerrero, not Brady's Guerrero, but with him coming into my life and telling me, like, hey, no, dog, like, keep your foot on their neck. Sorry, that's what we say in football. But, keep your foot on their neck and push harder.
Draft day comes. You've done, obviously, workouts for teams at that point.
Yeah.
Dallas had expressed interest or letting you know that you're thinking about it, or was it a surprise?
Honestly, it was more of a surprise. Like, I talked with Big Cat, Leon Lett, and, like, you know, like there's at the draft, there's rooms where you go in and you talk with the team, like they request, you know, you to come in and have an interview. And I had about 7 of those, and none of them were the Cowboys. But then there's a room, like after you do like physicals, you got to sit in that room, and there's like position coaches all sitting around, and they just want to sit with you and meet with you and talk with you. You know, it's not like super formal or anything. And, you know, I met with Leon Lett, Big Cat, and he was the assistant D-line coach at the time. And, yeah, we just chopped it up over some scheme and what I'd do with certain things, and then that was it. Yeah, like I mean,
You won someone over. And
yeah, and then, like, draft day comes, you know, and we're thinking, like, man, I did, like, they have those hometown workouts. So, like, after the draft, after pro day, every team has like a hometown workout. So like players that are from around that area, a certain, you know, radius, that you can go and work out for teams' position coaches. So then I went to Detroit's and worked out for their position coach, and like he was like, man, love you, you know, I love your work ethic, like you went harder than everybody today. And I'm like, okay, be in Detroit. And like Detroit goes by, and then I don't know if Detroit goes by, but they were like 3 picks next, or they just went by. And so, you know, it kind of was in a place where, you know, just didn't think I was getting drafted in the 3rd round anyways, but I think Detroit went by, and I was like, okay, I'm definitely not getting drafted now. And then the Cowboys came up, and I was like,
let's go.
Yeah, got the call from Mr. Jones.
Yeah. I want to ask one more football question around your mindset, and then we can dive into a little bit around kind of the theme of this podcast and creating the wealth that you have.
Yeah.
I'd have to go back and check dates, but I'm thinking like 2012, 2013, you're going into training camp. And if I remember correctly, we're talking like day 1 of training camp, Achilles goes.
Pops, boom, gone.
Tear your Achilles.
Yeah.
Take me through what you're thinking. It's my understanding that when you get drafted,
yeah,
that you at least get a signing bonus.
Yep.
That's a pretty big deal to most, right?
Yeah,
like, especially before these NIL deals and those kind of things. Like, man, I imagine it's the largest sum of money you'd ever seen at that point in your life.
Yeah.
You're still not the man. You're heading into a training camp, and boom, there goes the Achilles. Take me through that next year of recovery. Like, where was your mindset at? Like, hey, at least I made it this far, or what was like the push to get back on the field and get to what inevitably, you know, was kind of your career maker?
Yeah, so my rookie year, I played. I didn't tear my Achilles until my 2nd year. So my rookie year, I played, but I was a backup the whole year and played like, I don't even know, probably like 40 snaps combined, maybe, yeah, probably a little bit more than that. But and then my 2nd year, you know, new coaching staff, super excited about it. Get up the field defense. It was just like aggressive. I loved it during OTAs, and I'm just feeling really comfortable going into training camp. And I think it was 1st or 2nd day, we're doing a walkthrough, and I'm, you know, just going through the bags, and I felt my Achilles snap. And at that moment, I was like, you know, crap, because I was emotional. I was crying because, you know, I didn't think that I didn't know. Like, he told me I tore my Achilles. Like, I'm thinking like Achilles is a huge deal. Like, I don't think people really can. It's that easy to come back from this, right? You know, everything got more advanced, but it still is like really difficult to come back from an Achilles and, you know, play well. But, you know, that was going through my mind. I'm like, damn, man, like this not for long thing was real. Like, you know, all those things, different emotions. And then, you know, a day goes by and they tell me the plan, and the plan was super positive. Hey, we're gonna get you repaired. We're gonna get into rehab, and we're gonna hit it hard. You know, you're speaking my language, the work language. You know, if I'm gonna hit something hard, I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna get back. I'm gonna get right. So I took rehab, and I took it on like, you know, I take on anything else. Like, I got to work extra hard to be able to actually come back from this thing, because it's, you know, it's a serious injury. Like, completely ruptured it. So yeah, I mean, through the rehab process, I just worked really hard on rehab, which is important when you injure yourself like that. And yeah, I got back excited, you know, quick. Like, you know, a couple months out of the cast, I was excited just because I knew it was gonna be all good. Like,
yeah. I almost love that part of your story as much as anything, because it just seems to be a common theme that in business, or, you know, life in general, like you could just have all this momentum in the world. Like you just made it through your rookie year. You've got this new coach, all this momentum, and then a curveball comes and it changes the trajectory. And I think that's in those times when you find out who you really are.
Yeah.
I'd be interested to know who your top 3 people in your camp were at that point in your life. And you don't need to call them by names if you don't want to, but like who's in your camp right there, arm around you. Like you mentioned, you were emotional around it. Like who your top 3 people, because I think that's important for young athletes, you know, to surround yourself. We spoke about it before. I'm big on who you're surrounding yourself with. Who's in your camp at that point saying, hey, we've got this. We're going to get past this.
Yeah, I mean, you know, like huge, you know, shout out to my wife because she took care of me like crazy. Like I peed the bed. I going up and down the stairs. She was bringing every meal to me. I mean, she took care of me all the time. You know, my mom was there a lot. So, you know, those are, and then my brother, you know, there's other people in my life that were there around me, surrounding me, showing me love and making sure, you know, I stay me. But those 3 for sure.
Yeah.
And then like, you know, other people, I can say the Cowboys is tight knit, and we're like, and it's real family. Like, you know, they got trainers that are family there. You know, it's a big family from the Joneses down, right? And you know, Britt Brown, he, you know, kind of took me under. Like he's the one immediately. I was crying. He's like, hey man, like we got this. Like we're getting through this. Like, you know, we're good.
Yeah. And
then yeah, he took me like every day, and he loves like a person that likes to work hard. And so, like, me and him, we connected quick, and he's, we locked in and got it done. And I felt great, you know, after, you know, just working his plan to get this thing right, and it was perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, I think that a common theme with guests I've had is that there's really lonely periods as you're building something great.
Oh, yeah.
And when you can find those people that you know that are with you no matter what, like, man, those are the ones that are special. You hold on to those people. And you went right to your wife, obviously. It's like, you know, you got 4 daughters now, all that. You guys are building a life together, and it shows, man. I bet you that was a big foundational piece.
Huge, yeah. Well, I mean,
was she your wife at the time?
No.
Yeah.
Wife at the time.
Yeah, that's a...
Yeah, so still not even engaged, but, yeah, she was my... You know, like we met in junior college. Or, I mean, she was in university, CSUB, she played volleyball there, and I was in junior college. And, I mean, I always joke with her. I'm like, you know, like you were, like somebody will joke with her, me or whatever. But she said, like, what do they call them, gold diggers? And I'm like, you know, and she's like, you were a junior college football player. Like, I wasn't thinking I wasn't thinking you were like
Come
that.
on, I was playing college no ball too.
Yeah. So that's always,
I'm going to call her an investor. And, you know, she's more of an investor. She put the work in.
It's a risky investment.
Yeah. Take me through, I like the practical side of this. And what I understand about your largest contract is that you got a large chunk guaranteed. Mm-hmm. Like Jerry Jones is known for being a businessman. He's one of the most wealthy owners in the world, you know, those kind of things. Can you take me through that negotiation process on like a high level of how you were able to get such a high amount guaranteed in your contract and where that was beneficial?
Well, I mean, so I have an uncle. It's really my uncle's really best friend, right?
I've heard about this uncle.
Uncle Clay, right?
And I'm gonna put quotes, right? Quotes on your uncle. This is can I even just for the audience, I have a little bit of context here, but can we even classify this uncle as a mentor? And he was such a good mentor that you call him your uncle?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes. But like also like one of my favorite uncles, it's his best friend. So like when I got drafted to Dallas, he knew, you know, Unc was in Dallas. So he's like, hey, you know, take Tyrone under your wing, show him what's up. And Clayton took that, ran with it, and made sure, you know, like where I was spending was right, you know, like
I wasn't about to blow Unc didn't need you for anything.
Absolutely not.
Is that fair to say? Like,
no, he was flying helicopters to the Caribbean and landing them.
Yeah,
on the
so like,
he was
man,
good.
the importance of finding somebody and you know, or that relationship of who your uncle was to him for him to take, like, that's a pretty big blessing, you know,
Huge
to have
blessing.
somebody like that.
Huge blessing. I mean, like one of the biggest blessings, like in my life, you know, and yeah, I mean, honestly, he's, you know, for me, I'll call him uncle, you know, even him not being my uncle, you know, I love him. So yeah, he got me on the right direction quick, coached me up in the right places. But when it came to my contract, we picked the agent together. He helped me vet through like 3 different agents. We picked the agent together, my agent, and yeah, my agent was a super team as well. So like they went up, you know, and when they did the contract negotiations, they started off at like way up here, and I'm like, whoa, what are we doing? They're just like, hey, like, are you doing this or are we doing this? And I was like, well, this is the Joneses you're talking to. Like, why are you throwing out that number? That's crazy. They're just gonna be like, no, they're not taking this serious.
Yeah, like, hey, I like Dallas.
Yeah,
like, I'm trying to stay here a little bit. Yeah.
This is where I want to be. But yeah, I mean, it took about a month, and you know this and theirs came to this. Well, sorry, it was more like that.
Yeah.
But
negotiation tactic. They
yeah.
started higher, knowing that they might be able to work their way down to a number that works for everyone.
Yeah. So yeah, and you know, eventually we met at a place that was perfect for everyone, and a huge blessing for me and my wife and my family. And yeah, I mean, I had a role with the Cowboys. I was the everything guy. You know what I mean? Anything they needed, I needed to get it done. We went into that contract knowing that, and that's just what we did. Yeah, we had a good time.
Yeah, and you did. I mean, you played special teams. You moved positions. You moved left side, right side.
Yeah.
Backup, starter.
Yeah.
I mean, you did it all.
We went to I have a lot of good battle stories with my brothers. So and like football is like family to me too. You know what I mean? So like I have brothers that you know I went to bat with, went to war with. That you know that's why they'll stand right here, right next to me, right? So
yeah,
amazing sport.
Tell me, we played some golf. I'll give some people some context around here. Okay, this is something that was pretty. I noticed it right off the bat. We started playing a game. It's a gambling game around golf or anything like that. Mm-hmm. I felt like every hole you were really calculated. And my partner uses this term, get out in front of your skis or out punt your coverage.
Yeah,
like,
well,
I feel like you're very, I feel like you're very self-aware. Like, it didn't matter who was around. Like, you made a decision based on every hole. Like, you didn't gamble. It didn't, like, that's what wouldn't have occurred for me. Like, it seemed like right off the get, you just have, I don't know. I don't, if I could put a word to it, an appreciation for money. Like this mentality of like, no, I'm not going to make a dumb decision. I don't care if it's for $20 or for $5 or for $200. Like, I'm not going to make a dumb decision.
Yeah. Most people, like, even like if I go to a casino or like anything has to do with gambling, like most people are like, man, like why are you so like frugal with it? Like, why don't you spend like some money? Like, why don't you gamble a little bit? And I'm like, I love gambling. I love the camaraderie of it. Like, we had a blast out there, right? But yeah, I mean, there's for some reason in me, there's a conservative side of everything, right? So, which I think can hurt me a lot because that's just kind of how, you know, I was and like still am with my portfolio, right? So it's like I have this portfolio and, you know, I need to learn how to, you know, manage some risk in different places, you know what I mean? And it's a huge responsibility. And like, that's kind of how I, you know, I guess am in any like gambling or like, even if we were gambling for push-ups, I would still be conservative. You know, I'm trying to weigh my risk here, you know what I mean? So, but yeah. I
love that you said that. You said, at least how I heard it, was my conservativeness could even be a bit of a hindrance at times.
Yeah.
Because it could impact you pulling the trigger on a decision that could be beneficial. It does impact you. Well, tell me where that came from. Where is this mentality of
conservative? Yeah,
I've got this. Like, I'm not letting go of it. Like, you're gonna have to pry it from my fingers. And the benefits, because there's what's the word I'm looking for? There's this assumption, and there's these statistics that support it, of pro athletes blowing through their money.
Yeah.
You know, like,
So
man, I couldn't, if someone told me that you spent I just wouldn't believe them. You know, where does it come from? Where is this you're growing up? Like, you know, you and Alex told me a little bit about your mom and what she did to work to get you and your brother to where she got you guys. Like, where did this conservative mentality come for to preserve what you've built?
Well, I mean, it started there, you know, like it started there with my mom, you know, and then, you know, going up, you know, it's also, as you know, like when you have kids, you know, like you have so much more to lose. You don't want to lose those things. You want to, so what you said, you know, you hold it so tight, you don't want to lose it. But also, you know, in my life, Clayton, you know, like those were maybe, you know, I was always conservative and always like that, but he helped me, you know, I guess kind of, like if it was up to me, I would have put it in a bank. Like at that time, I would have put it in a bank and never touched it, right? Instead of it making money. So, you know, he helped me understand that you could be conservative making money, right?
Yeah. We call it going broke safely when you park money in a bank account because it's not even keeping up with inflation, the interest that you're earning on. But like you can see the number and you can look at it. We could talk about insurance on that, of having too much money in accounts and those kind of things. But like, that mentality or just hiding it under the mattress essentially, you know, so it doesn't go anywhere. You know.
And like, I mean, you know, it's crazy because like I've learned all that, you know, I've learned so much over my time that like, you know, if I can go and have a conversation with, you know, somebody that I know, you know, back home and like, we'll be in a conversation, they'd be like, okay, well, tell me about that. And I'm thinking like, wait, like, how did we not know that right now? You know what I'm saying? Like we should all know that. Like, but yeah, it's like, I guess it's an assumption I make that everybody does, you know, kind of think the same way I do. And it's not like that. Yeah. So,
yeah,
but the risk part, I mean, is something that I wish I would do more of. You know, I wish I would have more risk in some of my investing because, you know, I see people, I like, this is, I guess, my perspective of it. I see people, you know, win that way a lot where, you know, I'm not doing those things and I'm not winning, but we're comfortable. We're living the life we like to live. But so that's why, like, I love talking to people like you and, you know, seeing how to manage those risks and still, you know, make a lot of money.
Yeah, well, man, when you can find a sweet spot with your natural mentality around conservativeness, you know, and surround yourself with uncle, you know, or other people in your camp that have experience, man, you can really gain some momentum. And I'm a big believer in that.
Momentum.
But
I love that word.
there was a risk. You know, there is a risk of moving to the States. There is a risk of choosing Boise State. There is a risk, like there's risks everywhere, you know, that come along with it. Where can you be calculated and who can you have in your camp that helps direct and, you know, where you can lend on, you know, some advice. But you're right, I see it too, you know, especially in this environment with the guests that I've, you know, I've been lucky enough to have on. There seems at some point where they've really started to hit stride is that they had to take some sort of risk at some point. Say no to this job, you know, start this business, invest in this, you know, whatever it may be is the example, but they took the leap at some point. And so I'm excited to hear as you're in discovery around
my first one's going to be on myself for sure.
Yeah.
Like my first big risk, it ain't going to be like some big risk I put my money into it. Like if I'm risking something big, it's going to be me and I'm not going to let it, like that'll be the last thing I do is let it fail.
Yeah.
If it fails, we ain't failing. Like we'll come back.
Yeah, that's right. And it's amazing, at least in my observation, how far you can get if you just don't quit.
Absolutely.
Like, you know, there's one of my buddies uses this quote, if it's meant to be, it's up to me, you know, Absolutely. And it's just like all the time, like if I'm like other people are doing it. And I hope that this platform, like that's one of the major goals of this platform is to let people see how accessible it is for average people.
Absolutely.
You know, like you coming up, there's a point in time you didn't even want to play football.
Right, yeah.
You know, but like watch what a work ethic did. You said that you weren't the most talented person in every room, but look what you were able to create. Almost a decade in a grueling sport at the highest level for one of the most storied programs, most valuable franchises across all sports in the world. Yeah. And the overwhelming theme that I'm hearing from this is work ethic. Like the extra K on work, like you were willing to put that in.
I mean, that's what I believe. you know, like that's why the extra K is there. And, you know, like to be able, like I just use that as a reminder, you know, like I would say like if I wanted to sum it all up, work is a mindset. Like that's what it is.
Yeah.
So like if I can figure out a way to build like the mindset of that, like, I don't know, like if that's like a possible, I don't know if that's something that athletes just have. Like, again, like this is me falling fault to, you know, thinking that everyone thinks like me, right? Like maybe there are young athletes out there that play the sport, but they just don't want it like that. They're not going to do, you know, the 12-week program that I have or the 10-week program that I have to, you know, strengthen their core. Or they're not going to do the 10-week, you're not going to discipline yourself and lock in to a 10-week explosion program that's going to help you immensely, you know, in your sport or just in athletics, period. Yeah, those are, it's going to be interesting to see, like, once I kind of launch this thing, if it's like a big thing, you know, if I'll be excited to see if it's a really big thing, if kids are seeking that information to grow in that, like, part of their life, you know.
Yeah.
I seeked it. I was out, like, when the internet, like, when stuff was popping, YouTube, man, I was looking for people doing YouTube workouts that I can do, you know, after I did my school workout and then a workout with my boy at the gym. I was looking for, you know, like, show me, like, some weird push-up challenge that I'm going to do. And I was seeking it. Like, just like in business, you got to seek this type of information. And, you know, like, if hopefully, yeah, people do come across this, you know, your platform and what you're doing here to, you know, just listen in and just kind of grow through you and help them get to where they want to be, you know, take that, what is it, momentum.
Yeah.
Just keep on going. Yeah.
I've been calling it getting your algorithm dialed. You know, like when, like, you know, that. Like your algorithm's paying attention to what you're interested in.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, if you're trying to get in shape, you can get your algorithm dialed to show you all sorts of different workouts and meal prep and plans and those kind of things, because I believe right now it's the easiest point in history to make money. Like, it's so accessible, if that's important to you. You know, like, it's at hand for however much you want to make or whatever aligns for the lifestyle that you want to create. It's accessible. And one of the things is, like, you mentioned you're looking on YouTube, you're having to search it. Man, Absolutely. Our algorithms are teeing it up for us and throwing it on our For You pages and those kind of things. If you want, at least my belief system is that you can use it to build. I appreciate your time, man. You'll see that, like, one of the things that I appreciate more than anything is time, because
I know you're a father.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Listen, it's as important to me as anything. Before we take off and go get some food, talk to me just in my world of investing.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me one of the things that you're like, man, I'm really glad I made that decision. It could be an asset class like real estate, or, you know, obviously we went through a crazy run in the stock market a few years ago, like those kind of, like, do you have an investment that you've made or a place that you've stashed some of the capital that you've earned that you really appreciate? And do you have anything that you might not do again, or, like, if you had a redo, you would have, like, all right, I would have stayed clear of that? And you can be as vague or as specific as you want, but I'm curious of the two. Yeah.
Well, one, I appreciate all the assets that are making me and my family money. You know, I appreciate everything. Like, you know, we just got, I just really kind of got introduced to, you know, private equity, like, you know, maybe 6 years ago. Yeah. And just love the opportunity it's brought and love what it's done for us in our portfolio. But, you know, one personal thing that I think, like, you know, I love that we did, and I mean, it speaks to the whole sector, but it's real estate. You know, and we bought out of like personal want, but also knowing it could be an investment property. We built a lake home in Texas, and I mean, it's doubled in value. So I mean, there alone, like, you just see what, like, real estate could do, right? Like, I learned that, you know, my wife can put together something that can grow like that, right? Because I didn't have much to do with this project. Like,
there you go, mentioning that one person that's been in your camp for a little while.
Oh, no, she's a gangster. My wife's a gangster. And when I say gangster, I mean, like, you know, obviously.
Yeah, like, absolutely, I know what you mean.
She's a beast. But, so that is the one thing I'm super happy. And fortunately, like, I can't say, like, there's things that I regret or, like, there's things I won't do again. Like a restaurant. Like I did one out of fun, right? But like I won't do a restaurant again. But the other, I guess, yeah. I mean, everything else is kind of just a learning experience. Like a learning experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I love that you told me about the lake house story, and what I'd have you hear, at least from what I heard from it, is that was a substantial amount of money that you put into that build.
Yeah.
Whether you're going to keep it or sell it, and now you're, conflicted. Do I go and refi and pull some cash out of it and get our money back? Do I sell it and take that and go do it again or whatever it may be? But today we focused a lot on the football journey. Yeah, because that's what got you your start.
That is,
man.
That's a way.
Yeah. It's one of the million ways that I think that you can do it. I would hope that we have you back on it again. I know you have some projects going on. You've got your golf simulator business. Yes. I would love to be a repeat guest, from your golf simulator business. Can you tell people, you're Texas-based in that?
Texas-based, yeah, kind of North Dallas-based. But also we'll go anywhere. And pretty much we just do complete custom turnkey simulators. So like, in a space like this, we can, create, this space with a simulator space and, an office little area. We just try and go in and, give people like us, people that love the sport but like can grow in it, people with kids, just give them a space in their home or in their office or just wherever they can put it, wherever they can find the space to go and just kind of escape. And it's dope. It's called 19th Hole Golf Simulators. And it's me and my brother and our partner Bo, and we've been really successful so far. So I mean, a lot of people are loving, what we've did, and we've got a lot of great reviews. So I'm just super excited to keep going and just keep putting golf simulators in people's homes.
Yeah, you said it's called the 19th Hole Golf Simulator?
Yes, yeah.
Cool. I love one of my best friends that really helped me get started in golf lives in Arkansas. Ooh. And I'm so pumped for when our simulator gets put in that I can just like log in at night and play Pebble Beach with him and like go and play around. Like there's so many cool aspects to that, and I think it's a big wave of the future, and man, good luck with all of that. Yeah. And I appreciate you being here. Where can people find you? Are you active on social media right now? Those kind of like, where are people finding you?
I'm just heavily active on Instagram, really. I mean, every other thing too, but Twitter. But my Instagram, I guess, will give light to everything else I have going on. Yeah. But it's I think it's T Crawford 98. Yeah. Yeah, it's T Crawford 98. That's my handle. So yeah, I'm about to kind of push the work brand more on social media. But I'm not a huge social media guy, but I know the world of it, and I know what it can do and what doors it can open. And also just having a platform to be able to advertise your brand and what you got going on is an amazing thing. So I appreciate you having me on for sure. Yeah. And my Instagram, T Crawford 98. But yeah, man. Oh, and I appreciate golf. That was live.
Yeah. We'll do it again. We're going to get you. It's a little warm right now. Wait till we get you here in the wintertime, man. We'll have a good time, man.
Yeah, that was a great time. So I really appreciate it.
Canada, California, Boise, Dallas. What a cool road. One of the ways to make $1 million is working hard and outworking everybody in the room. Giving your dreams to play in the National Football League, man. Thanks for your time. We appreciate it. And shout out to Alex for introducing us, man. I'm grateful for connections and relationships. And
very good to meet you. Appreciate you. Yeah. Appreciate you, brother.
Thanks, man.
Dad, are you sure you know what you're doing?